This is Hi-Fi Radio with Wolfgang Klein and Jack Hardell. Toronto's news, today's talk, 640 Toronto.
Welcome to the weekend. Oh, best part of the week. Indeed. Want to make some money? Turn up your radio. That's what this show is all about. It's a money-making workshop. Jack Hardell, producer of the show. Good evening, Jack. You're well, I hope?
I am doing well, Wolf. Thank you.
Lovely. Frankly, the Lion going to spend some time with us this evening. We're going to talk real estate. Yes, number one broker in Canada, Remax Royalty, Frank Leo the Lion, brand extraordinaire. And, you know, I'm going to open with the importance, my good friends at home, is you and your brand. Your success is so dependent on your brand. Develop it. Develop it, develop it, develop it. Frank, you've been developing your brand, I'm going to say, since the early 1980s. You have logged about 40 years of branding excellence, as far as I can see. Am I correct with that?
Thank you, Wolf. Absolutely. We've been doing this for a very long time. And, you know, my dad always said good news spreads a lot slower than bad news. So it's been a while, but we finally have that mind share that you need to go out there and help more people.
Well, good for you. Well, give us an update on the real estate market, Frank.
Well, the market has shown sales are down in May, the last stats that we have.
You're speaking units?
Units, number of units sold are down about 13.3%.
Year over year?
May over May.
So year over year. And what about from peak?
From peak, we're talking about sales being down to levels that are really like 1990s or early 2000s.
Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of sales have gone down, especially in the new home construction. They've been record lows based on where we were at before. So this is a concern.
It's funny you mentioned new construction because I spoke to Brad Lamb about 3 weeks ago, and he said, Wolfgang, there will be no new cranes in your city for a long time. What you see will get completed, the crane will come down, and another one will not go up. And I remember, I'm not sure if I saw Sarah McLachlan, one female artist at the Phoenix, about 6, 7, 8 years ago. And she got up on stage and said, hey, welcome, Toronto. Thanks for having me. And wow, what a lot of cranes you have. At that point in time, I think Toronto had over 100 cranes in its skyline.
The most in North America.
The most in North America, indeed. To see such extreme mean revert. And when something mean reverts and goes back to where it belongs, it doesn't stop at mean. It goes the opposite direction to the point of a zero. No different than crude oil during COVID. Crude oil, Frank, went to negative. Negative. It went negative. Oil went below zero. Mortgages, you had negative yield in Europe. So when something goes so extreme one way, it has to mean revert. And to do that, it has to go extreme the other way. I'm speaking with my hands in front of you, Frank. I think it's that Italian thing that you're
fantastic,
and the cannolis that you brought into the studio. Thank you for those. Those were lovely.
And I understand you much better when you're speaking with your hands.
Is that what it is? You capisce. Hey? I just spent 12 days in Italy. I love Italy. I love the Italian people. I love Italian food. And with technology today, Frank, I ask myself, why am I working in Toronto when I can really do what I do anywhere in the world?
That's another show, though. That's great.
I don't know. I want to stay in Italy and just fantasize that I'm working there. I could do this radio show from Italy.
Sure.
It may not sound as good, but you being a real estate broker, will artificial intelligence replace your role?
Well, I mean, AI is incredible. It's adding to our lives in many different ways. Many good. We have to be careful of the bad because it is changing it in ways that we don't know yet. But I still think that we need to have a human element because we're dealing with people, and that's not going to change. And our product, which is homes, are all very different. They're not just cookie cutters. So you have to kind of fit the home with the person that wants it and make sure you got all the details that are involved in the process.
You know, I just couldn't see you being removed from the equation.
Not removed, Wolf. Augmented.
Right?
Yeah. Taking data, taking information, being able to synthesize it, come up with a proper price, and then help you serve your clients. I can see AI doing that and communicating with clients as well.
Yeah, no, it can certainly help and augment, exactly like Jack said. You know, it's incredible. So many are fearing AI. Parents for their children's sake, and even children, I think it might be depressing them a little bit. But we have to have the courage to embrace technology. Welcome technology. Do not fight it. Resistance is futile. And the good thing is, I know a lot of very smart people who are embracing AI. And I sit on the board of a hospital, Humber River, a philanthropy board. And please, friends, if you want to support a good cause, that is certainly one of them. Fantastic state-of-the-art hospital. But each and every one of their doctors is embracing artificial intelligence. Better, more accurate diagnosis, quicker patient care, less liability, less time, less cost, lots of benefits, yet oversought by a doctor still. So not being removed from the equation. The legal profession, continues to be the poster child for replacement by artificial intelligence. But once again, I truly can't see it. I can't see it.
The only
Augmented.
thing, the only thing that I've realized over time is there's one constant in this world,
And
that's change.
Yes,
So you have to embrace it. You have no choice.
Change is the only constant. When I used to work at that fabulous radio station in this building, CFY, that was a moniker that we used to run because it was playing new music. It was a progressive radio station playing new music. And yeah, change is the only constant.
And there's a couple of other constants, and that is that, in our weather, in our climate, as you mentioned, you went to beautiful countries, but it rains here. Today's not the best, weather. Hopefully it's going to get better. But it rains, it snows. We need a shelter, and so shelter is going to be a necessity. And I'm fortunate enough to be part of that process for many families and helping them out and making.
The show's HIFI Radio. It's a show about money, but I like to weave in some fidelity. And I'm glad you mentioned the word shelter because I'm going to cue up "Give Me Shelter" instead of burning down the house. Okay, we're going to get some Rolling Stones for you coming out of the next break. Frankly, the Lion spending some time with us. We're talking about life, business, and shelter, real estate. So unit sales year over year are down even more off peak. At some point, we're going to get a washout. No different than the stock market. When the stock goes quiet, volume and trading activity dry up, and then a catalyst wakes it up, and all of a sudden you see a spike in activity, a spike in volume, and a new cycle begins. I ask you, what Jack and I are able to watch is we're able to watch this data live. We can see trading volume, we can see price action, we even can see what's called level 2, where we see orders sitting beneath and above the market on both buys and sells. So we have a glimpse into the future, as tight as it may be. It's something to gauge. When it comes to your market, what clues do you look for to see a change in sentiment?
We have the pulse on the market because we deal with so many people at one time, so we know what's happening. The other factor that I think is critical to understand is that more new homes have come on the market, and more homes are available on the market. So we have a lot more selection.
So inventory, Lisa,
inventory is way up.
How much is it up?
It's 41% from last year.
Inventory is up 41%. There was a cry that there was no inventory available. It's funny, on my street in my hood, or my previous street just around the corner, 2 homes on the market sitting there for over a month.
Yeah.
During COVID, I sold my home on that street in 8 days. But I was, I think, a very, very intelligent seller. I moved. I didn't dick around. I showed the home properly. I even got involved in the sales process because there I was disappointed. The agents did not know my home the way I knew my home.
Right.
They did not know. They didn't know the quality of the finishes. And so I did a sales job on it to upsell the quality of the finish. And it made a big difference. And I said to the buyer, I'm flexible, work with me, and we'll get this deal done. Directly to the buyer, not their agent, to the buyer. Oh, you're cringing right now. You hate that as an agent. Well, I got in there, deal closed like that.
Well, if I was there, I wouldn't advise you to tell that I will sell it to you. And, it seems sensitive. It's a little bit desperation there, but negotiations is another story.
Well, I was serious about selling the home. I wasn't desperate. I was I wanted to sell and I got the deal.
You got it done. You got it done. That's important.
And something? The buyer became a very good friend of mine, and the buyer actually is a doctor. And if I have a medical question and I can't get through to my own client, he takes my call. I'm serious. So it win-win, good karma, good things happen to good people. And then you said it before. I saw it in one of your seminars, Frank Leo the Lion, RE/MAX professional, #1 broker in Canada. Branding for 40 years. Frank Leo the Lion, you said it yourself. It must be win-win negotiation.
Absolutely.
Like you and the other agent, you don't want to hammer the other agent too hard because you're going to see that other agent again in the future. Now, that doesn't necessarily work best for your customer and on the spot, but it does work well for your long-term brand and reputation. You don't want the competition to think that you're not a nice person to deal with.
You can be a great negotiator and a great person. The thing is
I like it. So say that again. That's actually wisdom. That's good.
You can be a great negotiator and a great person, of course. The thing that we're fortunate about, because we deal with so many people, we have a glimpse into the future, so we know what's coming. And so often, giving good advice today is not received in the same way as historically. So, for example, if right now I was telling people, 6 months ago, sell your property now and you'll be happy. And they said, well, I don't know. And now 6 months later, they say, thank you very much. At the time, they didn't realize the advice was as
of course,
able to foresee the future. And that's what we talk about. We're able to test the knowledge that we have and use it to the benefit of selling a home or buying a home, which, by the way, is one of the most stressful things you can do in your life. Is moving is very stressful, and we're part of that. And our goal is not only to help them move from one property to another, but also to make it in the most calm way possible.
And the key is making sure you have your ducks lined up in advance and an agent who can help explain to you the importance of making sure your money is available in advance of closing. You do not want to close without.
We have our guarantees. Those
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
HIFI Radio, show about money. We're speaking real estate. Frank Lee of the line in the studio. Welcome to the weekend, my good friends. We're going to spend some more time with Frank right out of the break. Stay tuned.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Hi-Fi Radio in a moment on 640 Toronto.
Welcome back, Mick. Frank with the line, spend some time with us, the man who can give you some shelter. Single-family homes, Frank, in the GTA. My sense is prices have not really fallen a whole lot. Am I correct?
4% March over March of last year. This year.
Down 4%. And what about off-peak?
Off-peak?
The peak, peak price.
I mean, you're going year after year. I mean, there's always fluctuations in different segments. I mean, the detached properties are holding their value a little bit stronger than the condo market.
If you bought a home in Mississauga at the peak of the market, how much do you think that's down?
Oh, there has been a contraction across the board, essentially. When people bought at the peak, which was March of 2022, that was the peak. People would probably not be getting the same amount of money for their home.
What's your gut? How much are they down?
5-10%, depending on the area.
Not too bad.
No, it hasn't been crazy, but I mean, because of our price points, it's not. It's a lot, because then there's a transactional cost as well.
Oh, there's more on top. Yeah. Oh.
And there are people who, on higher end homes, have lost $300,000-$500,000 on their property values.
Yeah. I tell you one thing. We talk about the stock market being, I think, a much better investment long term for investors than real estate. Real estate's has good runs. That gets people very excited how great it is because of the power of leverage that people always underestimate. That actually, they borrowed money to make that investment. Apply leverage to the real estate market, you will do equally well, a lot better. But gold, bars of gold. In the last 25 years, little bars of gold that do a whole lot of nothing, no shelter. You got to actually pay to store them. You got to pay rent to store the stuff. Massively outperform both the stock market and therefore the real estate market as well. Who would have figured? Right, the yellow brick road. I always thought it was someone's driveway. No, just little bricks.
Many ways to get there.
There are many ways to make money and many ways to get hurt. And we don't like to get hurt. So tell me something, Frank, in terms of real estate, and I think it's a pretty obvious answer, to almost guarantee making money in real estate in this environment right now, how do you have to be set up?
Well, I mean, the smartest thing you can do is find the property that suits your needs so you don't have to move anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And also, hopefully, that will provide you with an option to have a component of the property that you can, generate some revenue, a basement apartment or a laneway home, or et cetera. So you can help leverage the payments, someone helping you do that. That's the way to do it. Don't get over your head. Don't go into a point where you're spending too much of your monthly income on shelter because you have to live. And so those are the things that are going to allow you to stay there as long as you need to, and you'll make money over time because real estate is fantastic over time.
It is. I think the key component, again, is how should you be set up? It's a state of mind, and of course needs. As long as the home meets your needs and maybe slightly exceeds your needs, so that there's some flexibility if you have another bambino. Decades. You need to think in terms of decades, not years, weeks, and months. And Jack and I, we're also life insurance licensed, so that's part of our estate planning services that we provide. Life insurance policies are great. They work. They serve a lot of different needs and wants. But for them to work, you must remain committed to the plan, basically in perpetuity. Do not walk away from a life insurance plan. Again, review, make sure it addresses your needs. But we see people walk away from them. That's why in the United States, you can actually sell your life insurance policy. You can't do that in Canada because there must be what's called an insurable interest in the party that you are insuring. But in the United States, the law is different. That's why you see on television, don't cancel your life insurance. Call so-and-so. It may be worth some money. Frank Leo was insured. Your wife insured you. Now your wife said, I don't want to pay the premium anymore. All of a sudden, you can sell me the policies. Now I pay attention to your well-being, and when you die, I get paid.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Indeed. Well, it's all about money, Frank. Let's go to the cost of money and monthly payments. Household income in Canada, in Toronto. Let's stick with Torontonians. Household income in Toronto. Let's just say a family makes $200,000 a year. How much of a mortgage can they absorb with a $200,000 annual income? 100 each. Spouse each make $100,000.
You shouldn't be more than your GDS ratio there. So you're looking at comfortably 30-40% is where you want to be at a max. You don't want to be more than
30. Let's just say 30. It can go up to 40 of gross income.
Gross income, yeah.
Let's say 30%. So that's $60,000. That's $60,000. That sounds like $5,000 a month. That sounds like just under $1 million mortgage.
Just about.
That's the math.
Yeah,
I did it for you.
No, you did a great job.
Thank you.
That sounds like a big mortgage for someone that's making $200,000 to me. When you look at the total amount that's outstanding, I know it's for a lifetime, so it's 25-year amortization type thing. But that's a big nut for a young couple to have because it's not
Who
just.
said they're young? They're making $100,000 each. I don't say they're young, but I'm not going to argue with you, Jack. I will say that's 30%, and the banks will lend up to. What is it, 40 or 45%?
It's 42, but
So I was being conservative with that number, Jack. So the banks will actually allow you to borrow up to to service about $80,000 per year in terms of debt financing. So $80,000 would get you closer to about a $1.2 million mortgage. That's even bigger than your $1 million mortgage that you don't.
And what will that actually get you in Toronto? Not a whole lot. Certainly not a.
It'll get you
detached house.
$1.2 million will get you a condominium in Toronto.
you can get into a few properties, but
not a house. Oh no,
townhouse, some homes you can get.
And I guess a home that hasn't been fully renovated in, for example, the East End.
There's some areas that you can get a home, but the real issue is that people have leveraged themselves over their head. So one of the problems that we haven't addressed, and I think is a big issue, is that people during the boom time they bought to their max, which is fine, but the rates were at the lowest point in history. In 2020, right now, we're renewing our mortgages from the lowest rates that we've had. And now, even though the rates have come down from their high, they're still much higher than they were at that point in time. So even if you could afford your original payment, when you're renewing, your new payment will be much higher and therefore causes tremendous stress on your family's finances because your mortgage rates are higher, the cost of living is higher, and now you got some issues. And the other problem that we haven't addressed is the elephant in the room is because of everything that's going on out there is that their jobs are not as secure as they once were. HBC, the steel tariffs, those are all causing some concerns for our employment. And that has an effect on everything because if we don't make as much, we can't spend as much, and that affects the whole economy.
Well, again, you are your most valuable asset. Your ability to earn income is as valuable as it can be. And if so, you have a dual income household, one loses their job, you are in stress mode, which is what we don't want. I've been on TV and radio now for 25 years, and throughout my career, especially I remember saying it over and over again when I was on CP24, when interest rates were falling and debt levels were rising. I can't tell you how often I said it, pay down your debt while you can. While money's cheap, pay it off. Don't take on more debt, pay off your mortgage. I think it was like yelling into the wind.
No, I remember you saying that, and that was great advice.
I said it probably 100 times.
Yeah.
I remember a few friends of mine say, hey, by the way, Wolf, I got my house paid for. It's good for you. Now, again, it's not about just paying off your house. Money's a balancing act. And the question is to get the maximum yield out of a dollar. And my team, Jack included, of course, we're very good at helping clients maximize a dollar. Should it go into an RSP? Should it go into an RESP? Should you pay off your house? Should you put it into a TFSA? These are questions we have. Some people just don't even think about it. And every year you need to think about where should it go? Well, if your mortgage is 2% and your tax bracket is 50%, you're better off putting $1 into an RSP than to paying off your house. If you put $1 in RSP, you're going to get 50 cents back in the mail. You can use that 50 cents to pay down your mortgage, or take that 50 cents and put it back into the RSP again and get more money. It's a perpetual money machine. So it is a balancing act, but you don't want to enter retirement with any debt as far as I'm concerned. And you do have to make sure that you have income when you retire. And again, Frank, for an individual to retire today, number one, they have to have the house paid for, in my opinion. And number two, if they want to have a lifestyle of 60% of what they previously earned, let's go back to that couple that earned $200,000. To replace income suitable to their lifestyle, let's just say the house is paid for, so it's not as significant. Now they need maybe 130. 70% of 130 is still, call it 90,000 to generate in perpetuity for the rest of your life, $90,000 of income. The rule is no more than 4 or 5% of your assets each and every year, which means if you have $2 million saved, you can extract about $80,000 to $100,000 a year out of that account, because you're going to make that money plus maybe 2% in the market. That's it. So if you want to live off of $300,000 a year, you need about $6 million put aside. These are important numbers to go through. It's a balancing act.
Well, and success is really when you have to get money working for you instead of you working for money, because there's only a certain amount of time in the day that you can work, but your money can work day in and day out, 24 hours a day, and that can support you. So having a good financial plan is essential to wealth and long-term success.
Frank Leo the Lion, spending some time with us in the studio, Remax Realty. Number one broker in Canada. That speaks to his commitment to you. Thank you, Frank.